G'day guys, we're here and excited because Nissan has finally updated the interior on the 2025 Nissan Patrol. The new Patrol Ti gives you every reason you were missing to buy a Patrol and to consider one if you're in the market for a LandCruiser or a large four-wheel drive SUV that has a V8 powerhouse underneath it, or a large 6 or turbo 6 that's powering it as well, and maybe you want the sound and the comfort of having a V8 engine. Now, behind me from the outside, as you can tell, not much has really changed. So if you have a look around the external side of the car, you would really be forgiven for thinking that the car itself is exactly the same, but it's not. So let's do a quick recap on some of the features and pop into what the changes have been that you're gonna absolutely love. Now, as you can see, this one is plastered with bugs. And that's because we did some filming yesterday. We went for a long drive out to a western part of Brisbane where we got some really good shots that you will see featured in this video, but also so that we could test out whether it's still a great car to drive and how it compares to the Warrior. So make sure you stay tuned for that review. That's also coming, and to let you know whether you should spend the extra $15,000 between this and the Patrol Warrior if you're considering a off-road use for this car. If you're considering it for on-road use though, I genuinely think the Ti is a fantastic balance of everything that you want in terms of power, comfort, performance, and exceptional ability off-road if you do take it off-road on occasion. Now, parking sensors are at the front. They go the whole way along, so you're gonna be well covered for every corner. You have a 360-degree camera system, so you get the camera at the front, on the wing mirrors, and at the back. And that 360-degree camera now comes up on a new massive digital display inside, which we'll show you, powering this powerhouse monster of a car. It's one of the last remaining big four-wheel drives with a V8. And let's be honest, if you love V8, you're gonna love the note that the Nissan Patrol can give you from an exhaust or from a standard format. It gives you just that nice throaty kind of punch every time you put your accelerator down to overtake or just to pull out in traffic. The engine itself is a 5.6 litre V8 with 298 kilowatts on tap and 560 Newton meters worth of torque. Now, it may not sound like it stacks up in the torque figures compared to some of the diesel options that are now out there that may also not be V8s anymore, but this thing packs an absolute punch. And if you talk to any Patrol owner, they'll tell you that it's more than capable at delivering power and torque when you need it every single time, and with a nice throaty burble as part of being a V8. The one thing is fuel consumption, of course, as you tow may be a little bit higher than towing with a diesel, but if you're buying a Patrol, chances are you're probably all right for some cash, and you're probably not actually caravanning all the time for that to be a daily headache for you of using more fuel. But if it is, you're also saving a considerable amount of money compared to other options that you might use to tow that said caravan with. Whether it's a Toyota LandCruiser or whether you're stepping up to the American trucks such as a Silverado, a Ram, or even perhaps a Toyota Tundra, there's a lot of cash to be saved between going for those options and going for this new Patrol S5, because this, on average, sits at about $95,000 to $96,000 drive away at most Nissan dealerships as of today, when I had a quick search online to see what the drive away prices were in each Australian state. Now, that's a slightly discounted price across some of the states, so you can know what you can kind of have for that money versus stepping into something that you're gonna be into the hundreds of thousands rather than in the late 90s. Gives you a lot of money for fuel and also for enjoyment and adventure. So let me know what you think. Let's pop this down and have a look at the changes inside the car. Now, stepping through to the inside, the door trims have received a monster upgrade in terms of the premium feel to them. So you still have a bit of a fake or faux wood grain plastic just here that is glossy. At least it's not glossy black. You have soft padded materials used just here, which is an area that you're quite unlikely to actually use on a daily basis. You're not really resting your hand there, but it's nice that they continued the premium feel. High contact areas such as your armrest, that is going to be a soft touch material. The handles are just a normal material. Plastic down the bottom, as you expect with just any car. And this soft Alcantara-like type feel fabric That fabric there is grey in colour, and look, it picks up a little bit of the white kind of lint that comes off, you know, other sweaters, my sweater, just the general dust that builds up. So you probably might want to have like a lint roller in the car, because that probably might be the only thing that gets annoying about this new door. But overall, particularly on longer cruisers, having that soft padded area there that doesn't heat up like any of the other surfaces on a hot day is really, really nice. The door handle also feels a little bit more premium. I don't know if that's changed or if that's just in my mind now, feeling that this is actually feeling a little bit higher quality than before. Because in the past, I have actually not liked that in the very first version of the S5. And I say this as with a little bit of bias, because I'll be honest with you, having had a 200 series LandCruiser VX, there was a couple of things where I picked it apart between this and the Patrol, between the LandCruiser and the Patrol, in that there was just attention to detail in these little 1%ers. But this new Patrol has really stepped up in its attention to detail, attention to those 1%ers that make the overall cabin feel like the value of the car that you're actually buying. And I would now be hard pressed to go, do I see a massive amount of value to go from one brand to another when you can have a lot of car for the money and some great adventures in this car? And the engine itself is proving to be pretty reliable and dependable for most people. So let's move inside the car. Steering wheel, a couple of changes. So you now have active cruise control. So the cruise control setting just here, that will now monitor your speed. The cruise control in this car, it stepped up to an active cruise control. So you will be able to follow the car in front of you. If they're going 80 and then drop to 70, you're not going to have to put your foot on the brake or anything in order to get that. Testing it last night, it does it really, really smoothly all the way down to 0. So it does a great job just there. Volume controls and all your other functions are still here. Your Bluetooth and hands-free control is just here. And overall, just a really nice steering wheel feel. It still feels exactly how you need it to feel for confident on-road and off-road driving. Wipers on the left, indicators on the right-hand side, and they have automatic on and off headlights as well. The dash, soft touch material, and you have that gloss wood grain type look coming through, but it's a darker material again, so it looks a little bit nicer. Now come around to the middle, and that's where we'll cover off some of the big changes in this cabin. Before I move on to the interior, there's a couple of other things that are big changes as well. So you have forward collision alert added. You have a really big one, particularly when you're backing up such a big car, and that's cross traffic or rear collision alert warning. So that comes up as well. So if you're reversing, there's cars coming, it will give you a warning to let you know that there's traffic on its way. But the massive 12.3-inch digital display that's used at the top here is absolutely fantastic. Now, it is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatible. It is wireless for both of those. And there's even a wireless charging pad, which I keep getting wrong, but it's located just here. So it's nice and out of the way, and you can even tuck your phone there. So if you are off-roading and you want to charge that phone, you're going to be able to quickly and easily be able to pull that in and out. So you're going to be pretty good. All your four-wheel drive control buttons are just here. I won't cover off each of those functions. There's multiple channels that do really good off-road testing and coverage. And I just don't have the budget for that because I self-fund every review. So highly recommend you search something like Car Expert. They always do really good off-road tests, or even some of the more specialist channels like 4-wheel drive TV and so forth. So check them out. Dual zone climate control over here. You get quite a bit of gloss black, which is the one thing I'm not a fan of, and it kind of doesn't make sense because there's wood grain over here, but it's a darker wood grain again, that's gloss. It kind of makes sense because if you had too much wood grain, it would kind of then end up being this massive wood grain piece, which I think would throw you back to the early 90s. But it would have been nice to just be like a matte color or a different design, but this is still miles better and way above the quality of what was previously in here. So I highly recommend it. The other thing with that system there, the camera. You get a 360-degree camera system, which gives you a reverse camera and a bird's eye view camera, and that makes parking this big beast really, really easy. The moving guidelines as well will move and adjust as you're moving your car. Again, it's just going to make parking an absolute breeze when you are trying to maneuver something so big as this. And down here, you got some little joystick controls. So if you've ever used a system like BMW's smart little cockpit audio system, it's basically the same. So you just twist this dial here and it scrolls you through a number of those settings at the top there so that you can input your navigation, time, everything like that. And because this car is going into a regional area, more than likely, the cool thing is you can actually input whatever address you're trying to search for in the navigation up here and pull up your maps. So it's going to have inbuilt maps, not just depending on, not just reliant on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto Maps, which is going to save you if you are in areas where there's low coverage for cell reception. Let's move on and cover what you get down here. Big cup holders just there. Once again, once that's closed, you get that nice little patterned area just there and a big drop-in area here. And I like this little storage cubby or tray that's placed on both sides. You can kind of store whatever you need there and then close that massive center armrest. The downside is it's not movable, it's a fixed armrest. That would have been the only thing that would have been nice, so that you could kind of position yourself in a really good driving position with your armrest. The good thing though, this car is tilt adjustable just here, but you also have reach adjustment. So you can actually position this car the way that you want to drive so that you're comfortable. And these super luxurious and well bolstered seats, at least on the top half, should make it somewhat comfortable. The only thing I found is this seat, every time I've driven in a Patrol, the base of the seat, I struggle to get comfortable in. I'm 5'10". I just find it's a bit too flat for me, even though I'm chunkier. And I would think that I would sink into the seats being chunkier, but it doesn't go that way. Perforated seating as well, but there's no heated seats or ventilated seats in the Ti. That's the one thing to be mindful of. If you do have a Patrol, let me know what you think of your seats, whether you find them comfortable and maybe it's just me that is a little bit twitchy in the car, or whether you too also find them a little bit hit and miss. Down the bottom, before I forget, USB-C and USB-A outlets just down here, and a little blank area just here where you can kind of pop in whatever you want. So if you want to put different blanks in for spotties, driving lights, I don't know, winches, you can. Let's jump in the back. Now, in the back of the Ti, it is a very spacious area. It's very comfortable, and you can even access that center console by flicking that button, because you can access it from the front or the back. Down the bottom here, you'll have a couple of additional USB connections that are fast charge compatible, that you can charge whatever devices you want. Aircon controls for the rear are located just here, and you've got these little map lights on the sides. The one thing that is missing, and I'm just having a bit of a kind of blanked out moment, I almost feel like it used to have at the top in the middle here a light, because at night those lights around don't actually provide enough light to help you see inside the cabin all that nicely. So I don't know if it's missing light or if I've just never noticed that it was missing light in the center, but that's the only thing I could criticize about the inside, is it actually misses that center light. These seats at the back, this is really cool because you can actually tilt them to quite an angle. So if you have a larger child seat in the back, or you just want to relax and nap, you could do that on a long road trip. And you also have your armrest that pops down here with the cup holders that flick out this way. ISOFIX points are just located in these slits on the outer two seats as well. And of course, with the back, you have on the outer two seats a child restraint point for the anchors. So just here, they usually would be at the back of the seat. They are at the base of the seat, so you're not losing any space, but they're just located just there. You can pop this up this way in case you need additional storage for a longer item and you have no people here, or if you just want to get these seats up to get someone into the back seat. Now, what is the back seat like? Well, let's have a look. As someone that's 5'10", this back seat is actually quite interesting because it is actually comfortable. You can place this seat forward by tilting it a little bit more and have it there. But the one cool thing is the backrest actually angles as you tilt. So if I tilt further, the base actually moves as well. So now if I do that and pop this up, I would actually be pretty comfortable in the back in the third row. I don't know if I'd want to be here for the whole trip, but if I had to do it for a short drive on a weekend, I could probably make it work. There's cup holders in the back here, so I would be well and truly catered for when it comes to drinks, and air conditioning vents the whole way along the sides as well. So I would have nice ventilation, whether cooling or heating, throughout the year, and a very big window, so you know, it kind of feels like you can look outside. I actually quite like it. Let me know what you think. Let's have a look at the boot. Now at the back of the car, you have the parking sensors along the base. This one has been fitted with an optional tow bar, which is a genuine Nissan accessory. And as you can see, it's a manual opening tailgate. What's really weird or interesting about that though, is it's actually a soft closing tailgate. So if you don't close it completely, it will automatically close for you. But the overall opening of it still requires it to be manual. Now, this is how this back seat would look based on the furthest back position and me sitting in it just like we just saw. So it would kind of kill quite a bit of your height. But once you drop that down and you pop it into, let's say, a normal position for a child, you would actually have a decent amount of boot space in here. You could fit, in the past, I've tested it with a large Samsonite suitcase. I think it was, from memory, my Octolite 68 centimeter bag that I had in here. I've also had a 81 centimeter Octolite bag in the back. That was before I got my Octolite Neos. But you can have a look at that previous review. But I've had those in the back here and have had plenty of room. There is a little bit of additional storage down here where you can put a tow bar and whatever else you need to put down here. And of course, the spare tire sits underneath the car. Overall, it's a decent boot space, and you even have that overhead light that is missing in the middle. I don't know why there's one at the back but not at the front, and that light color I think is actually quite nice because it's almost like a warm white light, which if you were camping and setting up camp and had the tailgate open, that might attract bugs a little bit less than the bright white lights that the inside of the car has. So I'm not quite sure if they did it on purpose or if they simply forgot that the back light has a different colored globe. 12-volt outlet at the back here, and of course plenty of space for a fridge. And if you did put a fridge in here, plenty of cargo tie-down spots just there. But let's go for a drive and let's see how the car drives. All right, so the drive of the Patrol, well, goes without saying, having the V8 underneath your throttle pedal is going to absolutely let you accelerate like no tomorrow. Even at low speeds and under normal mindful acceleration, you're getting a really nice throaty sound to the exhaust. The other cool thing as well is you have really good visibility out the front. The end of the bonnet is kind of where the end of your vision like stops, so it's quite a square body, so you end up with quite a visible front. Windows all around are really big, but the car is also very, very big, which means that for some people it may be a little bit trickier to see properly around the car. The other part to it as well is having the digital display in the center here, plus having the analog display, just gives you a little bit of a tweak to the information that's available, and it kind of makes that a little bit nicer as well. So things like your TPMS settings, for whatever reason, a compass if you wanted it, but more importantly, a digital readout for your speed, and also so you can keep track nice and easily of how much fuel you're actually using. So you've got quite a bit there to love versus the older, more analog dash and display that was in the previous models. And like I said, the overall seating position and the drive is a lot higher, it's a lot more comfortable, and of course with a lot more power. The other thing that I would also note is there seems to be some improvements to the overall body roll of the car. It seems a lot less wishy-washy compared to the previous Patrols that I've driven. It may also just be particular to this car, but other S5s that I've driven in the past I've felt were a little bit more boaty and a bit more floaty in certain corners or just normal day-to-day city cornering. This seems to be a little bit more stable, a little bit more composed. It seems to move around a little bit less. So overall, I really like the drive. And you know, it's nice, it's quiet, it drives well, and I think the audio upgrade and the interior upgrade now actually make this car feel a lot more premium than it used to feel. So it now is a really compelling case to going for this versus something like a Patrol, a Silverado, a Ram. If all you want is a big car that has a big powerful engine and can tow whatever you're towing, or can fit your family comfortably in the car without pushing you to potentially some stressful limits around your finances. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm right or wrong about this car. And stay tuned for a couple of videos on the Warrior. One that just shows you what the differences are between the Patrol in the Ti and the Warrior, and it's just a key differences video. And then a full review of the Patrol Warrior as well. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching once again.